Assalamu alaikum guys, and welcome to a new video. Today is going to be a little bit different, and we're going to talk about what it's like to be married to a Somali man. So I remember a few years ago I met some Somali girls in the Gulf, and they were saying how they were never going to be interested in marrying a Somali man. It's just a constant struggle for them, especially as they said, a quote-unquote fresh off the boat. All right, I can kind of understand where they're coming from, okay? Because it's this struggle, this conflict of, are they interested in you? Are they just interested in a green card? Will their personalities change? Will they take another wife? It can be really complicated, especially when dealing with Qabil culture. But let's pause for a minute, because this introduces a much broader and more interesting conversation about the Somali male, and a conversation that often goes ignored. To truly understand the Somali male, we have to step far outside modern assumptions and walk backwards into Somali history. Somali culture is deeply patrilineal, shaped by centuries of nomadic life and masculine survival culture. A Somali man was defined young not by obedience or compliance, but by passion, alertness, skill, and freedom. His worth was measured by his ability to navigate land, protect his people, resolve conflict, and lead with wisdom. Somali men were creators of households and guardians of them. They brought shura, governance, and safety. They read the stars to guide their tribes across vast landscapes towards water, pasture, and peace. Their leadership was not rigid. It was intuitive, mobile, and deeply tied to nature. And more importantly, within that world, they were free. The caretaking of the home and the children belonged to women, but not as submission and not as weakness, despite how the West nowadays defines or frames stay-at-home wives and mothers. Somali women were leaders in their own right. While men herded and hunted traditionally, women literally built the homes themselves, weaving tents and huts, making clothes, caring for animals, children, and the community. They were protectors, but in an equally different manner. Even then, it was understood that the nature of the Somali boy and later the Somali man was to wander, to rest beneath trees, to chase animals, to observe quietly, to tell stories, and to sip with adi between his teeth and sharp, watchful eyes. Today, in a Somali home, you may see a hoya swatting her son away from the kitchen, telling him to go outside and play. It's not because he's incapable, but because his spirit is expected to stretch outward, not inward. And now we place that same boy into classrooms, offices, schedules, time clocks, and fluorescent lit rooms, and we call his restlessness a disorder. In the West, they might label him ADHD, but in nomadic cultures, not unlike the Tuareg, Fulani, Zulu, and so many others across Africa, the Somali is simply nomadic in spirit. He does not thrive under nagging, constant pressure, reprimand, or rigid rules. He needs guidance, repetition, space, and purpose. He needs room to expand, not to be compressed into a desk or a chair or this westernized, compressed version of masculinity. Somali men, in their original element, tend to the camels, follow the land, drink tea at their own pace, and set time by the sun, not by minutes and hours. Time moves differently, it flows, it disappears. Then you take that same man and place him within an environment in which everything is defined, everything is rushed, and everything has guidelines set by a completely different standard, and what may appear as a woman taking the lead. Women do take the lead, but for Somali men, it is defined in his very own. So if you ask me the question, what is it like to be married to a Somali man, or to be a mother to Somali boys, or to even teach Somali students and children, both boys and girls, it means really understanding that these are a particular, unique, beautifully cultured, defined people who are not defined by Western patterns of masculinity, productivity, or order. They are defined beautifully into an unbreaking transition of life. When they are outside of the traditions of Somalia, they are far away from their element, far from the date-scented winds, open land, and camel path horizons that flow in their very own blood and veins. Now, I'm not making this an excuse for any kind of misbehavior. I'm not making this video to say that Somali men are perfect, or Somali kids or boys or whatever it may be are perfect and have a right to be domineering. No, this video is made as a context to try to explain and to understand not just the Somali man and not just the Somali boy, but in fact to further understand the contents behind the nomadic African man outside of his element. The Somali man, like the Tuareg, like the Fulani, is not defined by imposed frameworks. He's defined by who he is when he's allowed to move with dignity, purpose, and space to lead in his own way. And that is what it means to be a black man, an African man. And perhaps the real question is not, what is it like to be married? The question is, what do you do with the nomadic spirit that is forced to live in a world that no longer recognizes it? That is the question and the conversation that we've been afraid to have for far too long. Thank you for joining me today in this pretty short and brief video. I just wanted to share a little bit of a context of Africa and Somali culture. And if you agree with what I said, please let me know in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. And if you are married to a Somali man, or if you're a Somali man yourself, let us know. Do you think that I explained the context very well? Or do you think I missed out on any important information, especially for those in the West that have been far away from the traditions and the cultures that they know all too well in Somalia? Let me know in the comment section below. Please make sure that you like and share. And yeah, don't forget to follow me on all my socials. You'll see them in the bio below. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Assalamu alaikum.